Boomer Guitar Sessions, episode 14. Today is a good day because we're talking about making better use with our time. Okay, we're talking about practice specifically. So this is a thing that we've been working on as musicians. If you've been a musician all your life, you try to get the best. Like productivity is the big word in lots of circles today, but how to practice to get the most out of what you want to do. So whatever it is that you want to do, and everyone's different. That's one of the things that we know about practice. So with that said, how do we practice? That is what we're going to address. How do I not practice? I don't have a list of things and that I go this to this to this to this to this. There's only one way to go from point A to point B. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Anyway, we're going to get into it. I'll tell you what I do believe in. Okay, so the first thing you need to do in order to get your practice routine in really spiffy order is you got to set up your agenda. What are your goals? What do you like? What do you listen to? Let's set a goal. Like, do you want to play in a band? Do you want to play heavy metal guitar? Do you want to play campfire guitar? Do you want to play in church? Whatever the goal is, does not matter. Does not matter. Play with people, I'd say, but you don't have to listen to me. Go where your heart tells you. I think playing with people is fun, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not fun for you. But anyway, that's a goal for me. How can I better play with people? Anyway, set goals for yourself. You need a target that you're going to hone in on. We're creatures that need a target. All right. That's step one. Step two is let's think about like okay, so your goals, say you want to play in a band or you want to play your favorite songs. What are the unrefutable things that we need to learn? What are the core things that we need to learn? Now, when I say this, what we're talking about is like, okay, so no matter where I go, I'm going to need to know some chords. No matter where I go, I need to get my rhythm together. No matter where I go, probably learning like my fingerboard, like the notes on the fingerboard so I can play my bar chords and my power chords and my scales and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that's going to help me no matter where I go. All right. So with that said, check out the unrefutables. Check out what are the core things that we need to work on. Now, here's the other thing. Some of these things are things that are not like completely obvious to you because that's why you get a teacher, because people who have been studying this and working on this for a long time, they know stuff that the rest of us don't. Okay, and they've had more experience. They've had experience in more people than just themselves. Okay, so core skills you needed to achieve your goals. You have to have a very clear cut. Like this is what I like. This is what I want to do. This is my goal. This is what I'm aiming for. We're creatures that need an aim. All right. Next thing is, okay, make a list of who are your guitar heroes. What are the sounds that you're wanting to create? Who are the sounds that you're wanting to create? Like, whose sounds are they? If it's Slash, if it's Bob Dylan, it does not matter. Like in the Boomer guitar does not mean any one kind of style of guitar. It just means guitar-centered music. All right. So with that said, what are the riffs? What are the licks? Learn the songs. Learn some of the songs of your favorite players, and you find out what they find is possible. You learn out their like subliminal musical beliefs through what they create. Now, the other thing is, if you have the opportunity to check out like interviews with these people, what are their bigger beliefs? Their bigger beliefs. When I say bigger beliefs, what I'm referring to is the more we know about our idols, the more we know about the people we look up to, what their beliefs are, what are the beliefs that got them to where they are. That's what we want to know. All right. So that's key. That's what guitar players do. The way we imitate. Imitation is the way we first learn to get our feet in music. Okay, we imitate Now, in time, we're imitating from all these different strands. We're learning from all these different strands, and how we put those strands together, that's what's going to make us unique. And what I imitate from and what you imitate from is going to be different. And what I take from that said thing is going to be different than what you meant. Uniqueness on a guitar is completely easy, and I think it's something people overthink, because I think you don't have a choice but to be unique. So with that said, don't just learn the guitar player's riffs and licks, but learn what they believe in. Who are their heroes? That's another thing. Who are their heroes? Who are your heroes' heroes? Who did they listen to? Check those people out. All right, next, the approach. Once you get all these is all the groundwork. Once you get all that done, the next thing we need to talk about is another kind of approach that in playing the guitar and practicing the guitar. So it is what I've come to know as nonlinear practice methods. Now, I didn't know there was a name for this, nonlinear practice methods. What does that mean? Because linear means like, okay, so if linear practice assumes that if I practice this, there's an exact recipe of things that we need to practice in order to become good and great. In that order, if you get that algorithm in that order, you're going to be great. You're going to be good. You're going to be like your heroes. And I don't feel nothing I've ever learned about practice, nothing I've ever learned about guitar is true. People are unique every day in every way. So nonlinear approach does not endorse we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do this. As many guitar players as there are in the world, there's different roads to the mecca of guitar goals and greatness, that kind of stuff. So nonlinear means that I'm going to take from this, and I'm going to take from this, and I'm going to take from this, with the basic axiom that practicing the guitar should not be drudgery. Practicing the guitar should not be drudgery. It should be something we look forward to. It's something that we have to pull ourselves away from. It should not be something. I always have parents of younger students ask me how many hours do they practice, or how many minutes do they practice a day. Give them something that they're going to check off a list. And it's like, if you're looking at a clock, you're not doing it right. That is my set a goal for yourself. And then you achieve that goal and you get excited, and that spurs on enthusiasm, and that spurs on motivation. Success breeds motivation. Okay, so with that said, nonlinear practice is an effort to not make music drudgery. Okay, everything that you do is going to affect everything else that you do. The idea that all change is global. If I improve on my rhythm, any part of my rhythm is going to affect the whole pie, not just the rhythm pie. Okay, so you want to do all kinds of stuff. So I have a 10-point system, or 10 areas in which I think we need to work on, that we're going to discuss right now. So in nonlinear approach, I put these under 10 categories. 10 categories. First category is music theory. I would not shy away from music theory. I think that is a horrible mistake, because music theory is ridiculously helpful. I can do things with music theory and make sense out of music so quickly that because I understand how music works, that's a hack. That is absolutely a hack, and it's not hard. That's the other thing. Music theory should be applicable to the music that you're playing. Okay, it should not be. In other words, when I was a kid, music theory was taught only in classical forms, like in the guitar lessons that I had as a kid. They had jazz harmony back then, but in classical forms, you bought the classical guitar book, you constructed your scales, and you did all that, and it was only applied to kind of classical music. It's like we're talking about counterpoint and figured bass, but my music has nothing to do with that. Okay, I'm not Bach. I never had an aspiration. So music theory solves problems. Okay, second area of work that needs to be done is going to be chord knowledge and chord progressions. Okay, learning new chords and learning new voicings, but also how do you apply those voicings in stringing chords together and voice leading and different places on the neck and that kind of thing. Number three, reading. Reading is important. Imagine yourself not being able to read a chord diagram. Where would you be? Couldn't read a chord diagram. You'd have to drive to the next county over in order to learn that B7 chord, because you couldn't do it any other way. Okay, so a chord diagram is immensely useful. Tablature is useful. All these things are useful in their place. Learning to read a chord chart gets you playing songs really quickly. That's a big hack. Rhythmic notation, it is not hard. It is not hard. The hard thing is going to be standard notation, and for some players that is going to be something that you're going to want to, that's going to be a bridge that you're going to want to cross over, because to not know it's going to stop you from growing in the way that you want to grow. For a lot of us, it's not going to matter, and not everything is going to be for every person too in any of these things. So, for example, if all you ever aspire for is to play doom metal, just playing a jazz chord, maybe not absolutely essential. I think it would make your music better because it brings diversity to it, and you're not just sounding like your top 5 doom metal bands. But that's not for me to say, and also that's only my opinion. But if you just want to make doom metal sounds, then you don't need a jazz chord. So with that said, number 4 is comping. Comping means accompanying. That's a study all on its own. How did Hendrix accompany himself? How did John Mayer accompany himself? How did Bob Weir, George Harrison, all these different players, they have different things that you can learn from them. Okay, comping is an art form. It's like improvisational rhythm sectioning. Okay, that's what we'll think of as comping. Number 5 is scale knowledge. How well do you know your fingerboard? How well do you know your scales? How can you use them to improvise? Number 6 is style knowledge. My biggest advice and best advice that is ever given to me in an article was Chuck Rainey, favorite bass player of mine, says learn as many kinds of music as you can. Be prepared for anything, and then it's the mixtures of those everything that's going to make you a dynamic player. Now, he said you're not going to use all those players, all those things. You're not going to be the guy they call for everything. And it depends on where you're living. Chuck Rainey always lived in cities. So in cities, he could find the reggae bass player played on the Peter Tosh record. They could find them. So he wasn't a competition for that. So, but in small town everywhere else, we learn we can play everything. And we do. Okay, if your skills are open to that, and if your mind is open to that, and so style knowledge. Now, along with style knowledge is rhythmic knowledge, and a lot of times the thing that differentiates rhythms and styles is the rhythms that people play. So the more we know about rhythm, the more we know about subdivisions, the more we know about how the beat can be subdivided, and the different kinds of rhythms there are, and the combinations of rhythms, and not only the rhythms but also the rest. So it's where the space in between. Rhythm knowledge is absolutely essential. Okay, that is number 7, rhythm knowledge. Number 8 is technical awareness. Technique is it is important. It is to say it is absolutely unessential is said by somebody who has technique. Okay, because I've witnessed people who have no technique, and they don't know how to use a pick, they don't know how to strum in time, they don't know all kinds of things that we need to learn how to do. So technical awareness, no matter what you're doing, is it's going to be something you're going to want to work on. Okay, that was number 8. Number 9 is improvisation. I think every student can benefit from learning and working on some improvisation. And combining all of these things, we can combine all these things in our improvisations. Okay, scale knowledge, style knowledge, rhythm knowledge, all that stuff can be used and working on improv. And then finally, number 10 is repertoire. That means songs. I'm a big advocate of song-centered learning. Song-centered learning. In song-centered learning, we can take songs or chord progressions or styles and grooves, and then we can wrap all of these different concerns, all the 10 concerns, into one little neat little ball. Learn the harmony of the song learn the music theory of the song you're doing. What are the scales that Jimmy Page is using? Peter Frampton, Warren Haynes. What kind of devices are they using, and how do I recreate that? How do I repurpose that? How do I repurpose stuff? Repurposing is one of the main purposes of music theory. How do I take something that somebody else is doing and to be able to repurpose it in different scenarios? All right. So remember, the golden rule of practice is always it must be fun. Okay. Doesn't mean it has to be. It doesn't mean that you're not working at it. It doesn't mean that striving to be better and striving to do something that's hard is got to be drudgery. It doesn't got to be drudgery. You're working at it. You're working hard at something, but it's got to fill you up more than it takes away. It's got to fill you up. If music only serves to pull you down, then why do it? So, and you're not going to practice it. You're not going to practice something that is drudgery all the time. Okay. Discipline might be a thing, but discipline is not the kind of thing, discipline is fine and it's good, but you can't rely on that all the time when you're playing in a creative thing. Okay. Discipline might get you started, and then it's the motivation and wow, I got better at this. Wow, I understand this. Wow, I had this epiphany. Then it catches. Then it's no longer discipline. Then it's play. We want to work towards play. We want to work towards that flow state. We're always working towards the flow state where everything is. You have to pull me away from this in order. I have to stop practicing at some point, but it's not because it's because I'm looking at the clock and I want to stop. It's because that I got to go to bed, or I got to go to school, or I got to go to work. Okay, so flow state is that most natural, and it's the optimal state to be in when you're learning stuff and you're working on things, and it's where all the good stuff is going on in your head, and it's like 2 hours feel like 2 minutes. That's what we're working towards when we practice. All right, so this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions. Thank you for being here. I know you can do this. Better practice is going to make you a better player. It's going to be that whole idea of productivity that's in the business world. Yeah, we all want to be productive because we only have a limited amount of time on this planet. So until next time, I want you to share with 50 of your closest friends. I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to do this, and I want you to believe in yourself, and I appreciate you. And until next time, I'll see you later.